So we're heading into the second weekend of the Six Nations, and this is usually the point where the noise starts to fall away and the truth begins to surface. Opening weekends are chaos. Energy, emotions, narratives flying everywhere. Second weekends are different. This is where intentions get tested. Because by now, teams don't get to hide behind freshness or surprise. What they're trying to be is already on tape. What matters now is whether it holds up. What's interesting about this championship so far is that it doesn't feel settled. There's no clear rhythm yet, no sense that the tournament has chosen its direction. And that makes this weekend important. Some teams are arriving with momentum, others with questions, and a few with pressure they didn't expect to be carrying this early. England, for example, don't arrive with hype, they arrive with structure. They look like a side that knows what it wants games to feel like. That doesn't guarantee dominance, but it does give them something solid to fall back on when matches tighten. Ireland, by contrast, feel like a team being asked new questions. Not because they've suddenly become bad, they haven't, but because confidence alone isn't smothering over things anymore. This weekend matters in a different way. It's reassurance as much as result. France remain the most dangerous side in the competition. They can turn matches inside out, but they also live closer to the edge. When things flow, they overwhelm. When they don't, they invite chaos. The question isn't whether France can win, it's whether they can control the tone of the games. And then there's Italy. Italy are no longer a side you glance past in the fixture list. They're organised, they're composed, they're competitive in moments that used to undo them. That doesn't mean they win every week, but it does mean every opponent now has to show up properly, and that changes the psychology of this tournament. Scotland sit in a familiar place, capable of brilliance, capable of frustration. This weekend tells us whether they're ready to turn promise into something sturdier, or whether they remain a team that flirts with progress without fully committing to it. And Wales are waiting, not just for a result, but for something to hold on to. Sunday looms large, but the context is being built now. What happens around them this weekend shapes the weight of what's coming next. That's why today matters. Not because trophies are decided in February, but because direction is. By the end of today, we'll have a much clearer idea of which teams are growing into themselves and which are still negotiating with doubt. So watch today's games carefully, not just for scores, but for body language, for patience, for discipline under pressure. Because this Six Nations isn't about one team running away with it. It's about who stays steady while everything else shifts. And by tonight, some teams will look a lot more comfortable with who they are than they did a week ago.